how do we actually connect to God in prayer? If I had it to do over again, I would have begun by fasting. What happens is the reason we do not connect to God is because we do not seek Him with all. We are commanded over and over in Scripture to seek Him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And so, when our stomachs are full and we seek Him with all, we are half-hearted. So that's why I believe fasting is a shortcut to entering the heart of God and actually interacting with God. So if I had to do it over again, I would have begun by fasting. I had no idea back then. And I was scared of it, actually. I believed it wasn't for today. It was just a weirdo thing. Why would you want to suffer by starving yourself for a day? What good does that do? It actually gives you a hunger for God. When you pray, the pain in your stomach causes your prayers to be extremely intense. It's like 10 times as intense as a full stomach. Even if you mean what you're saying to God, with a full stomach, you're not seeking Him with all because you aren't emptied. Okay, hardships, if you have to endure a brutality, if someone that you dearly love dies, whatever horrendous thing occurs in your life that causes you to seek God with all, that's when you can experience the tangible presence of God. Why is that? Is because you're seeking Him with all. A crisis causes you to seek Him with all. Guess what? You do not have to go through a crisis in order to seek Him with all. You can set aside a day to actually seek the Lord and give up food and say, Lord, I want you more than food. I want you more than food. I'm more hungry for you than I am for food. I want you. Nothing more. You and only you. That's when Jesus is Lord. When you draw near to God, there's so many sins that you commit all the time. Thought sins. Even if you commit no outward sins, and that's not possible, well, it is when you walk in holiness and all you know to be true. You can walk in holiness, especially if you are full of the Spirit. However, there is so much sin that we commit automatically without thinking because we are selfish, and that is our default position as we do things for ourselves all the time. So how do we actually connect to God? We seek Him with all. We can do that if we have a hideous crisis, because we're so stubborn. We're so stubborn that we cannot actually experience the presence of God unless we're going through suffering, because we won't seek Him. We go ahead and self-pamper and enjoy and seek our own pleasure and just indulge ourselves, and we pursue all that automatically. We don't pursue God. So when you take away food, then suddenly all that is stripped and you're emptied. So yeah, Jesus fasted. When Jesus said, when you fast, don't be like the hypocrites. He didn't say, if you fast, He said, when you fast. Jesus expects that true believers will fast, and especially in these end times. Especially in these end times. Oh, so how to actually break through the ice if you feel like you're not connecting with God, you don't even know if you're saved, you've had no transformation in your life. You believe the facts of Jesus dying on the cross, but really you're miserable. You don't experience the love of God. You don't have joy deep joy just emanating out of your face. You're not guided by His Spirit to pray for people suddenly, and that was the very moment that they were making a decision. Those kinds of things where you know that God is working in you and through you, and it's dynamic and it's exciting. Wow! That's the normal Christian life that's real and alive. Those are true believers. Live like that. We've been deceived into believing that somebody can actually follow the Lord and not have the Lord ruling their lives. So, connect to God. I would just start by fasting. If you're anemic, if you're diabetic or something like that, I would do juices, okay? I started that way when I fasted because I had to take care of my family. There were things that I was required by God to do. I did not want to fall down and bang my head or whatever, or I had to drive or something and I was scared. I was scared of it, okay? And so I started with juices only, including coffee, water, and the minimum amount of juice. And when I did that for 24 hours from sundown to sundown, that's the Jewish, what God commanded. God commanded fasts for His people. The fast that God commanded began at sundown and ended at sundown the next day. Or if it was a 3-day fast, it began at sundown and then it was 3 days. Or if it was a 40-day fast. All I've seen is 1 day, 3 days, and 40 days. I'm not sure if there's an indefinite one or not. I have no idea. But those are the numbers that I see in actual scripture. So those are the ones that I do. I've never done a 40-day one. I know someone who has. Anyway, so seek God with all. That's how you begin connecting to God, and God will reveal to you. I would ask, God, show me my sin. God, make me holy. I would do that first, and I would fast for God to show me my sin. Because see, you can't even approach God to have God fill you to overflowing and give you all the fruit of the Spirit, that you're controlled by God, okay, and transformed. None of that can actually happen if you have all this sin in you. And you do. You have a whole ton of sin that you have no idea. So, how do we actually connect to God? We seek Him with all. And so go ahead and do that. I would do it through fasting now in retrospect, because it's a shortcut. It'll put you way deeper into God, way faster. So do that first. Do it that way. I'll tell you how I personally did it in another video. I'm Susan Evans from SusanEvans.org. Thanks for watching.